At the turn of the century, there was a coaster war going on that we will never see again. Everyone was trying to smash every record, and everyone was opening their wallets to buy 1, or 2, or 3, or sometimes 4 new coasters in a year. The whole industry went crazy around this time, but Six Flags outdid them all. These days, you talk about 2, 3, 4 coasters being added chain-wide any given year. But in 1999 and 2000, Six Flags hit the 20 mark. Not 20 total, 20 per year. Today, let's look at the coasters Six Flags added during this bender and see if they were worth the money, and ultimately, the bankruptcy. These are the coasters when Six Flags lost their minds, ranked from worst to best. Just a note, Six Flags had big years in 1998 and 2001, but it just doesn't compare to the massive influx from 1999 to 2000, so those are the years I'm focusing on here. Also, I'm trying to judge how these coasters were at the time of their opening, so any modifications or roughness that have come along in the last quarter century, I don't want to consider that. Number 41, Great Chase at Six Flags America. This Samperla gravity coaster is for kids, replacing the Great Alonzo's Cannonball coaster. Definitely a more modern take on that Millennium Suns coaster, but very basic, and from my experience, pretty janky. Number 40, Roadrunner Express at Six Flags Marine World. Basically the same thing as Great Chase. This came just a year after this park started adding coasters, getting 3 extreme ones, so it was good to have one for kids. Number 39, Roadrunner Railway at Six Flags Great Adventure. Our third and final Zamperla Gravity. This was the park's first kids coaster since Little Thunder got removed in 1983. This was relocated within the park in 2021, now known as Little Devil Coaster. Number 38, Cox and Nail at Six Flags Belgium. The first real kids coaster in the park. This Zero Tivoli had a very basic oval layout. This lasted all the way to 2017, put into storage. A new Zero family coaster called Fun Pilot now at the park, so we'll see if they ever want to rebuild this. Number 37, Canyon Blaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This E&F Miler kids coaster has a lot of bite. From that swooping first drop, big hill, helix, and then 4 very jarring bunny hops, while the train is turning. E&F Miler definitely knows how to make a kids coaster. Number 36, Poison Ivy's Tangled Train at Six Flags New England. The first of 4 Zero Tivoli large models in a row. These are the ones with the double figure 8 layouts and long 20-car trains. These are very good, mild family coasters, but a step up from a kids coaster. This was renamed Catwoman's Whip in 2007. Number 35, Roadrunner Express at Six Flags Ohio. The smallest of the 4 coasters added to Six Flags Ohio in 2000. This Zero Tivoli large model was renamed Beaverland Mine Ride when Cedar Fair took over in 2004, and when the park shut down in 2007, was sent to Papaya Park in France and reopened in 2009. Number 34, Cobra at Six Flags Marine World. A year after getting the first kids coaster, Marine World followed up with a true family coaster, once again a Zero Tivoli large model, this one with a giant cobra head leading the giant train, a coaster still there today. Number 33, Blackbeard's Lost Treasure Train at Six Flags Great Adventure. This park added 25 new rides in 1999. We already saw Roadrunner Railway, and this brought the family coaster element to the park, renamed Harley Quinn Crazy Train when the Joker moved next door in 2016. Number 32, Flying Dutchman Gold Mine at Six Flags Holland. This Mock Wild Mouse is the compact park version, meaning no big drop off the lift, just a bunch of turns and small dips going over 1,200 feet of track. This closed in 2010, sent to a park in France where it's still going strong as Tiger Express. Number 31, Tom and Jerry's Mouse in the House at Warner Bros. Movie World in Germany. Another Mock Rides compact wild mouse. This one has a nice backdrop, trying a bit harder at theming given the park it's in. This was renamed Mad Manor once Six Flags left town in 2004, and in 2008 it adopted its new name, Ghost Chasers, using a SpongeBob theme. Number 30, Nightmare at Crack Axle Canyon at Great Escape. This Schwarzkopf Jetstar wasn't really a new coaster, just moved here from Darien Lake, but it was new to the people at Great Escape, so I'm counting it. This Jetstar in a box operated for 7 years, and after 4 relocations, it was finally shut down in 2006 and removed in 2008. Number 29, Batman the Ride at Six Flags Mexico. The first of 3 Vekoma SLCs in a row. Six Flags chose not to give Mexico a B&M Batman clone, so they got an SLC instead. Not as good, but if these are running smooth and new, they can be good rides. 109 feet tall, 2,260 feet of track, and 5 inversions. Number 28, Vampire at Six Flags Belgium. We saw Coccinelle for kids. Well, Vampire is what the adults got in 1999. Yet another Vekoma SLC. This one's still rolling along 26 years later. Number 27, Serial Thriller at Six Flags Astroworld. Sadly, the only time you'll see Astroworld on this list. Even with all the excess in the chain during this time, all they could give Astroworld was Vekoma SLC, replacing their Aero Mine Train Excalibur. This closed with the park in 2005, moved to Great Escape but was never rebuilt, eventually being sent to Iran where it still operates today as Ednor. Number 26. Flashback at Six Flags New England. We talked about the SLCs, now let's talk about the boomerangs. This one isn't entirely new. It was relocated from Kentucky Kingdom for the 2000 season, replacing the Aero Shuttle Loop Black Widow. You know how these are, 116 feet tall, 3 inversions going forward and 3 coming back. Despite a lot of people tossing around rumors of this coaster being removed, it's still there. Number 25. Boomerang Coast to Coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. This one came around in 1999, operated for 23 years, then got a new train for the 2023 season, now using the new Vekoma harnesses that cut down on headbanging. Number 24. La Via Volta at Six Flags Holland. This boomerang had 6 seasons, then stood idle for 4 years, being overhauled and reopened as Speed of Sound in 2011, now having on-ride audio, the better vest restraints, a tunnel on the first lift, making this now one of the best boomerangs in the world. But at the time it opened, it wasn't anything special. Number 23. Boomerang at Six Flags Elitch Gardens. Sadly, the only time you'll see Elitch Gardens on this list. They added this boomerang in 1999, the same year the park took on the Six Flags brand. And I don't know what it is about this one. It actually ran very well for me in 2018, and is still there to this day. Number 22. Two-Face the Flip Side at Six Flags America. The second of 4 Six Flags America coasters on this list. Yes, I know it's weird to see this park get anything new ever, let alone 4 coasters in a 2-year span. This Vekoma inverted boomerang was built in 1999 and shut down in 2007, torn out in 2009, moved to Movieland Park in Italy in 2015, now known as the Yabo Leak. From my experience, these inverted boomerangs are way more intense and fun than a regular sit-down boomerang. Number 21. Medusa at Six Flags Mexico. Now, we get into the wooden coasters that may have been really good when they opened, but fell out of favor. This CCI opened in 2000, 105 feet tall, just over 3,100 feet of track, having big drops and playing high off the ground as CCI likes to do. This shut down in 2013, RMC coming in to turn it into Medusa Steel Coaster in 2014. Number 20. Wild Wild West at Warner Bros. Movie World in Germany. This RCCA wooden coaster is still open today, known as Bandit, and it's got pretty good stats. 91 feet tall, 3,600 feet of track, emulating a cyclone layout. This ride has a terrible reputation now, but when it was brand new, maybe it was alright. Number 19. Robin Hood at Six Flags Holland. This rare Vekoma wooden coaster came to the park in 2000. 105 feet tall, 3,400 feet of track, with very odd U-shaped layout. This spent 19 seasons at the park, closed down in 2018 to be renovated by RMC, reopening in 2019 as Untamed. Number 18. Superman the Ride at Six Flags Holland. The 4th and final coaster at Six Flags Holland in 2000. This Vekoma compact launch looper would send the train out at 56 miles an hour in 2.8 seconds, into a 3 inversion course, over 3,200 feet of track, getting as high as 85 feet. When Six Flags left in 2004, it was renamed Express, then Express Platform 13 in 2014, upgrading its theme to an abandoned subway station. Number 17. Joker's Jinx at Six Flags America. Similar to Superman the Ride, but this compact launch looper was built by Premier Rides, launching up to 60 miles an hour into a 4 inversion course full of head choppers. This opened with over-the-shoulder restraints, but in 2002, those were removed in favor of lap bars. Number 16. Poltergeist at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. While Six Flags America was getting Joker's Jinx, an exact clone was coming to Fiesta Texas, following the same path, getting lap bars in 2002 also. In the last few years, this also got a great retheme, the Q&A station now being a haunted house. Number 15. Georgia Scorcher at Six Flags Over Georgia. After buying some big stand-up coasters beforehand, Over Georgia got a smaller one, 107 feet tall, only 2 inversions, 3,000 feet of track. This has a straight drop, a loop and a corkscrew, twisting and turning the rest of the way, and at first I didn't love it, but now I respect it as a solid ride. In 2019, this got repainted from yellow to red. Number 14. Superman Ultimate Escape at Six Flags Ohio. The one and only intimate impulse during this spending spree. This is coaster number 2 of 4 on the Six Flags Ohio list, and since we're already at number 14, that shows they got a lot of good stuff in 2000. This launches riders back and forth at 70 miles an hour, going up a 185-foot twisted front spike, then a 185-foot vertical back spike, even holding riders in that back spike on the second pass-through. This was renamed Steel Venom when Cedar Fair bought the park in 2004, shut down in 2006, sent to Dorney Park as Voodoo in 2008, still operating as Possessed. Number 13. Goliath at Six Flags Magic Mountain. The first coaster to open in 2000, this juvenile hyper held the record for the world's tallest drop at 255 feet, but only for a few months before Millennium Force opened at Cedar Point. 85 miles an hour, 4,500 feet of track, a true hyper twister, focusing on turns and a bone-crushing helix over airtime moments, and for that I have to drop it down. People also criticize it for hitting the mid-course brakes too hard, making the second half slower, but when it opened, I don't think that was a problem. Number 12. Batman the Ride at Six Flags Over Texas. This was a very late addition, most of the big Six Flags parks getting their Batman clones between 1992 and 1997. But better late than never, these are solid inverts. 105 feet tall, 2,700 feet of track, 5 inversions. Super intense, and all of these are still going strong at the Six Flags parks. Number 11. Roar at Six Flags Marine World. We already saw Roadrunner Express, and here is their big new addition for 1999, a GCI wooden twister. 95 feet tall, 3,300 feet of track, just a twisted mess of turns and laterals. It was a popular coaster up to the day it shut down in 2015, RMC coming in and turning this to the Joker. Number 10. Villain at Six Flags Ohio. Steel structure, wood track. This enormous CCI wooden coaster stood 108 feet tall and spanned almost 4,000 feet of track, full of hills that didn't give much airtime, but had a ton of great drops, and that's why I kept going back to it the one time I visited the park. This closed with the park in 2007 and was sold for scrap. Number 9. Medusa at Six Flags Great Adventure. Now we get into the 4 B&M Flores coasters, this one being not only the first one added to the chain, but the first Flores coaster ever, period. 142 feet tall, 61 miles an hour, 7 inversions, 4,000 feet of track, and you feel like you're flying with nothing under your feet. This was rethemed to Bizarro in 2009, and then back to Medusa in 2022, this time with a more Western theme. Number 8. Batman Night Flight at Six Flags Ohio. The fourth and final Six Flags Ohio coaster, Batman Night Flight, was their biggest draw. This was, and still is, the world's longest Flores coaster, 4,200 feet, only 5 inversions, but lots of extra twisted track. This was renamed Dominator when Cedar Fair took over in 2004, closed with the park in 2007, and Cedar Fair sent it to King's Dominion, where it rolls on to this day. Number 7. Superman Krypton Coaster at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Props to Six Flags during this 2-year span. They never went for a cookie-cutter Flores model. Superman was the most unique of them all, using that quarry wall to its advantage, going up and off it, a 6 inversion course spanning 4,000 feet, 168 feet tall and 70 miles an hour, and is a lot of people's favorite Flores coaster. Number 6. Medusa at Six Flags Marine World. The 4th Flores coaster, the 3rd one in 2000 alone. Medusa is the best of the bunch, a great 150-foot straight drop, a sea serpent roll, so much snap and whip in the second half, finishing off its 7 inversion course. This was my first Flores coaster, and still near the very top of my list. Number 5. Boss at Six Flags St. Louis. It's hard to believe Six Flags invested this much into St. Louis, a massive CCI wooden coaster. Again, playing high off the ground as CCI likes to do, having a 150-foot drop, over 5,000 feet of track when it opened. At first, it had a helix, but that got removed in 2018, 66 miles an hour, and these days, a lot of people, including me, say the ride is just too rough, but when it opened in 2000, I bet it had a very good run. Not a lot of airtime, or really any airtime, but at that size and speed, brand new and running smooth, I'm giving this a top 5 spot. It's just too bad I never got to ride this till 2018. Number 4. Superman Ride of Steel at Six Flags America. The 4th and final coaster at Six Flags America, the chain actually gave them an Intamin mega coaster. 205-foot drop, 73 miles an hour, over a mile of track, big and small airtime hills, 2 of the biggest helices you'll ever see, and that famous straight track. Superman is still the best ride in the park, and this park is very fortunate to have had that spending spree, relying on those coasters 25 years later to carry that lineup. Number 3. Superman Ride of Steel at Six Flags Darien Lake. Even more bizarre than Six Flags America, Darien Lake getting an Intamin mega coaster is just hard to believe. This was the original, this being cloned and mirrored at Six Flags America, and now you see why they had that straight track. On the original, it flies right over the water. When Six Flags got rid of the park in 2007, this changed to Ride of Steel, and now that Six Flags is back as operator but not owner, they haven't been able to put the Superman name back on it. Still, it's going strong to this day. Number 2. Raging Bull at Six Flags Great America. B&M came out with their hypercoaster in 1999, and Six Flags jumped all over it, getting one from one of their biggest parks in Great America. This has a 208-foot drop and over 5,000 feet of track, mixing great airtime with a strong twister section. This ride is very polarizing, some not crazy about the twister section, but I like it for having a diverse layout, not just hill after hill, and 26 years later, this is still one of the park's most popular coasters. Number 1. Superman Ride of Steel at Six Flags New England. It's the same name and same model as the coasters at Darien Lake in America, but it's not just another clone. Six Flags New England is not the biggest park, but they were given one of the great coasters ever designed. A 221-foot drop, 5,400 feet of track, a perfect mix of airtime and twister to end. And when this opened in 2000, it just had a T-bar. Unfortunately, in 2004, the ride had a fatality and the lap bars would be replaced with the dreaded U-bricks, and those do really hurt the ride experience. Since we're judging this on how the ride opened, there's no doubt this deserves a #1 spot. This was rethemed to Bizarro in 2009, then given VR goggles and renamed Superman the Ride in 2016. The VR only lasted 1 season, but its return to the Superman theme remains. That's a wrap on this video. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of these placements, but I think we can all agree on one thing. We're all grateful for these 41 coasters Six Flags dumped into their parks over that 2-year span. It was reckless and irresponsible and didn't make a lot of sense, but we're still reaping those benefits a quarter century later. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, and if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. I want to thank my Patreons. If you want bonus access, bonus content, and have your name listed at the end of each video, check my links below and join. Also, check out my second channel, where I post copyright-free off-ride footage. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.